Welcome to Crime and Wine. I'm Pamela Fagan Hutchins, your host, and this is the show where I talk with other crime fiction writers about the stories of thrills and suspense that will leave you mystified, sometimes horrified, and always wanting more. Please join me in welcoming today's special guest.
Hello, everybody. This is Pamela. You are watching Crime and Wine, and I am so excited to introduce our guest in just a second. First of all, let me apologize for being in what is our spare basement bedroom in Wyoming. Thank goodness we're back. And doubles as my husband's office. We're still figuring out how to make my podcast work with our setup this summer. So anyway, you're seeing a lot of family pictures and they're crooked, but there's nothing I can do. Welcome. As I said, I am so excited. This is the 110th episode. I can't believe that. And before I get our guest on, I do want to tell you, this has been the year of all my releases. So the last one was Skin and Bones. The three before that were Detective Delaney Pace and Her Silent Bones, Her Hidden Grave, and Her Last Cry. It won't hurt my feelings if you go out and check them out. I do want to welcome all of you that are joining us, and we'll be putting your comments up. I already got one. Hi, Charlene. And you now, Charlene, can help me welcome our guest, Stacy Green. Stacy, thank you for being on Crime and Wine.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I am excited to have you. I'm a fan of your books, I got to say. So,
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that you are so good at keeping us all really plugged into a series and making us want to take the journey with you. I know that a lot of my readers and my listeners and viewers are fans of yours as well. So
Wow.
You're speaking today to an audience that loves you. I was getting
Yay.
comments a few days ago from people about, I'm so excited for this. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I hope I don't disappoint.
I don't think you will for a second. So Stacy is the author of the Nikki Hunt series, amongst others, although we're here to talk about that series today. So tell us a little bit about Nikki and how we're ending up now looking down the barrel towards number 9, Stolen Mothers.
Okay. Well, first, I want to apologize for my kind of bear mess. We are in the process of moving actually to Colorado, and the house just got on the market and we're still packing a few things, so it's kind of funky back there. But yeah, so Nikki, where to start? I decided with Bone Lake to do kind of a little time jump. That's book 8, just to kind of freshen things up and kind of almost like a Nikki 2.0 in a way, because now she's married and her life is changed a little bit, and it just seemed like the right time to kind of take her a different direction a little bit.
Yeah. And so when you first started writing this series, now you'd written 2 series before this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us just a little bit about each of those, so I'll get a backdrop into what led up to Nikki.
Well, my very first series is called the Delta Crossroads series, and it is certainly a first series for a writer, and it was indie published. And then my Lucy Kindle series was initially published under my titles, All Good Deeds, See Them Run, Gone to Die, and All Fall Down. And then it's probably been 2 years ago, Book Couture took the rights or bought the rights for those and kind of recovered them and remarketed them. The girls, the Pink Shoes is the first one. So I had kind of just gone from kind of romantic suspense to much darker. I mean, Lucy is much darker.
Right.
And then I guess I kind of wanted to find the balance between the two. So,
Yeah.
And it just happened to work out that it was probably a year or 2 years about a year after my mother had passed, and I was struggling, and I hadn't really published anything, and I thought I wanted to do. I've had a supernatural idea, but I was floundering, and the book couture editor contacted me for the third time, and it was like, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I never doubted it. And she and I fired off some ideas that I had, and one was the FBI profiler, and she really liked that, and so we kind of came up with Nikki together.
I love it. That's very similar to my process with them. And by the way, you guys, right now we both have series with Bookouture. So full disclosure, we're writing for the same publisher. But it was really collaborative, and I enjoyed that. I'd never had a, hey, we like you as a writer, but let's find the right thing for you to write for us. And
Right.
instead of bring us a full book and we'll tell you yes or no. I
Yeah.
really liked that. I really liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does make you feel like they are truly supportive and not just, putting out another book.
Yeah. And that you've done something speculative that just may never find a home and
Right.
not wasted, because no writing's ever wasted, but wasted
Right.
time forward that you could have published that book while you just sit there and hold it for 2 years, which
Exactly.
happens. So
Mm-hmm.
I've loved it. I've loved it.
Yes.
So you're on number 9 with your editor now.
Mhm.
Do you see this series continuing indefinitely, or?
That's the plan. I'm contracted through several more books, and I like how, Book Couture, they recontract you for books so that, if something happens and the series kind of stalls or whatever, you can kind of pivot. But that's certainly not what we expect to happen. And we want to just continue to keep going. I'd like to get back to three releases a year, once we move. So probably 2025. Because between just my father died, and then you getting ready to move, and it's my daughter's senior year, and all this stuff, it just has put me behind a little bit behind schedule. But
Life can really be
uh,
a jerk.
oh my gosh, that is true, and it has been. But we've got our place in Colorado, and we're really excited. So
So you're going to be my neighbor, Colorado,
yeah,
Wyoming. I
yeah, I
mean,
didn't realize you're in Wyoming.
yeah. So what part of Colorado? You don't have to say a specific place, but like north, south, east, west,
South.
south.
We're in Fremont County.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes from the Royal Gorge. So
Oh, wow. That's
it's
going to be
awesome.
spectacular. Well, I hope it's a place of great inspiration for you.
Me too.
Peace, tranquility,
Yes.
inspiration, or I don't know, is that your writing vibe? Do those things help you write, or are you
Yeah.
more, yeah, you need it,
Mhm.
you need it. Do you have
100%.
a certain do you have to have a certain spot, and are you like a routine type of writer, or you have my laptop and wander around the house kind of?
No, I'm kind of constantly trying to figure out what I want to do. Uh, I think it's been a couple years now. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD,
Yeah,
which is the absolute wrong name for it. It's basically too much attention, executive functioning issues, and all that stuff.
yeah.
Um, so I've spent the last couple of years really trying to figure out all of that and kind of figure out what works for me and down to the minutia. Um, so I'm to the point now where I've kind of got it down, but it's certainly, I used to be a hardcore plotter, and I used to have it like all figured out, but
Yeah.
then the ADHD says, well, I'm bored. So
No.
I think I finally found the medium. Um, but it's interesting because I used to, up until this book, have to write pretty much in my office. I could handle the dog and a little bit of noise, but like when my friend visits, she can sit in there and work in the living room
Uh-huh.
and watch TV, and I can't write doing
Oh
that.
my gosh, no, yeah.
But the last probably 6 months, I, for whatever reason, started working on my laptop in the kitchen in the afternoon. And as we've started packing and things have changed, I've been writing out there a lot. And what I found helps me is actually putting on like true crime shows in the shocks,
Yeah,
and so it's just like that sort of atmosphere in the background. And that has really helped with my focus.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to think about getting that vibe or that mood,
Hmm.
for a crime thriller, listening to true crime
Hmm.
as you're writing. Wow. And so with your writing, like in the kitchen and stuff, are other people around when you do this, or is this more like Stacy's quiet time in the afternoon kind of thing?
Well, no, my husband is around sometimes. A lot of times he'll work from out of the bedroom because he works from home, or he'll sit, in his chair in the living room or whatever. He kind of moves around. But I can, if I know what I want to write and I can kind of shut everything out, I can write with him there.
Yeah.
Um, my daughter is 18, and if she's around, I can't write with her because
Yeah.
I just there's no um
Yeah.
but yeah, I can't handle a ton of activity. Certainly not.
I can't understand people who go to coffee shops with
I
all of
know.
it's like I'm like this the whole time looking
Yes,
at people.
absolutely.
Okay, I've got a mom question for you because
Hmm.
I've got daughters too,
Okay.
and does your daughter is she fascinated by you being a writer, or is it like, yeah, whatever?
No, she's pretty proud of it.
That's
I think, trying to think which Nikki book it was. No, I guess it would have been the first one. The victims were at the time like 14.
yeah.
And I needed to know how big of not to be too graphic, but how big of a freezer that the body would fit into, curled up. So I had to curl up on her bed and measured her, and she thought that was awesome. And no, she's really proud of it. She reads more like longer kind of fantasy type, either fantasy or like super sad, like the deep drama stuff.
Right.
Um, but she does like my books, and she's been really supportive and is pretty proud of it.
So you have another person that loves your books. Janelyn Kocher has just
Oh,
posted a comment. So that's Books
thank
Read by
you.
Prairie Girl. So I don't know if you recognize the reviewer name that she uses, Books Read by Prairie Girl, but she's
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, Tamara. We also had Tamina. I hope that I'm saying that right. Hello with a cute. Is that a
No,
Yorkie?
Yorkie.
Oh, cute little Yorkie. Now, Stacy, you have fur babies as well. You said dog.
Yeah. We used to have we had two miniature dash hounds, and we lost them in recent years, and we just lost our golden last year. Our
Goodness.
Belgian Malinois is gonna be 6, and he's a Belgian Malinois. I mean, he's an incredible dog. The smartest, dumbest dog you will ever meet. That is so true. No sense of uh preservation, it's just like ball, go, you
Yeah.
know. But he's awesome.
What's his name?
And Finn.
Finn.
Yeah, yeah. And I was working at home, of course, when we got him. So otherwise, we would not have, because they can't be in their kennel and all that kind of stuff. And then COVID hit, and my husband started working from home, and he's worked from home since. So it's really been kind of the perfect environment.
Yeah, you need a lot of eyes and hands on, and
Oh yeah, they're
what
worse
kind of
than a
mayhem.
toddler. Worse than a toddler. And I would say they're like German shepherds on crack.
Yeah.
Because they really are. Like, people don't understand. They see German shepherds and all that, and it's like almost double it.
Yeah.
Faster, lighter, crazier.
Yeah.
But also, like, so I remember hearing people say, "Oh, if you want a lap dog or a cuddly dog, don't get a Belgian." Yeah, right.
He wants to
They
snuggle, huh?
Yeah, he is a snuggler. Very, very loyal to us.
That's great.
And very protective too. He's very true to his breed. But yeah, so.
Well, Bella Crook says hello.
Oh, hi.
And Emily said hello, and that your books are very intriguing. And Bella
Thank
says she loves
you.
your books. So I told you that my viewer, listeners, readers are Stacy Green fans like me. So they'll be showing up and proud to be here. So one thing that when I think of our Belgian Malinois who passed last year, in the last year we lost 2 dogs, but the 2 old ones. We now have 2 young Malamutes, but the Belgian Malinois that passed, what really drove it home for me was if I hadn't worked from home, we would have had no furniture because she would get bored. And if you weren't in the house with her, she'd be like looking at you going, in the camera that's on her and she's chewing up your couch. You're like,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, yeah.
We need more exercise. She used to run 15 miles a day, just boom, 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 just go, go, go. So I feel
Yeah. But he's also awesome, and he's definitely that dog for me. Yeah,
he's
he's
your
my
darling.
boy.
I love it.
And he and my daughter fight like siblings. I mean, we have video of them essentially arguing in the back seat driving to Colorado because he wants 2/3 of the back seat. She gets like that much, and he can stretch out and touch her, but she can't stretch him to touch him. So yeah, and he's a Belgian, so he's mouthy and loud.
I love it. I love it. Well, before we switch to the speed round, I did want to make sure that we told people that the book that we're talking about is the July release, the number 9 in the Nikki Hunt series.
Yes.
A little earlier, you told us about book 8 and how you did a time jump to put Nikki in a different place in her life.
Right.
In the new book, Stolen Mothers, to me, it was a really interesting premise. Go back to an old case with a new crime. Do you want to tell us just a little bit about it before we switch gears?
Sure. I just for some reason I initially thought 9. I knew I wanted to do a serial killer, and I really had initially thought 9 victims. And then Jennifer thought, it might be hard to keep track of, and all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to go like pretty dark with the serial killer without going like graphic dark.
Right.
So it just sort of came about that I decided that I love the idea of Nikki talking to her mentor, who is based on Keppel, Douglas, all of those guys. So I really wanted to show that scene because like I basically wrote that scene for myself at times, and then I decided that was essential to the book. And so normally I tried not to do too many flashbacks, but I think the way this book goes, the flashbacks are kind of crucial because you see the 2 different versions of Nikki in a way.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to it. To me, it's a fresh entry into the series.
Okay, great.
You know what I mean? It's like feels like a really injecting a new way of Stacy doing Nikki, and I love that. I love that.
That's awesome because it's really hard to come up with continuous fresh ideas or whatever.
They just don't bake themselves. Let's put
no, they don't.
Well, we have someone wondering if you're working on number 10 yet.
Yes.
Of course you are. They have us on. By the time the book you've written has a title, you're halfway through the next one and you've forgotten what the old one is.
Exactly. That's pretty much true. Yes. So I just got line edits back today for Stolen Mothers, and I've been working on 10, trying to get it ready to write, I guess.
Yeah, I was talking with my editor about for me, it's number 4. And that we done like you, a contractor. It was like, okay, we want 3 books. We just don't know for sure if they're going to be this series or not, because we won't waste your time if they're not doing well, but we still want you. So don't go anywhere. And so I was like, okay, I'm finished with number 4. And she's like, talking about number 6. I'm like, wait a second. Is there a number 5? Are we doing it at 5? Oh, I thought I thought that was understood. It's like, okay, you're talking about number 6 and my head's about to explode.
That's awesome.
Oh, well, yeah. But like you, we're about to move, but
Mhm.
moving temporarily. We're going to France for a year. And
Oh my goodness.
I wrote her a note and I said, I'm not sure how all this is going to work.
Mhm.
I can't make promises right now.
Right, right.
How do you know whether you're going to be able to be creative in all that turmoil?
You
It's,
don't.
it's very difficult. So,
Yeah, you
um,
don't.
well, I'm going to tell you that this picture on the screen, I don't know if you can see it. That's my husband in the other room saying, loving this. And I'm like, that's me in that picture. I'm cracking up because he doesn't usually get to listen to my podcast. Hi,
That's
honey.
funny.
Well, let's do the speed round now with Stacy. You guys know how it goes. I ask her roughly the same questions that I ask the other authors so that you can compare how we're the same and how we're different. So they're easy. I'll start with, are you more of a sushi or a pizza type of woman?
Pizza. I don't
Pizza.
like sushi.
When
No.
you live in the middle of the country without water near, it's real dangerous to go
Yes.
sushi.
Yeah, it is.
So
Yep.
definitely. Okay. And so we covered earlier that you used to be a plotter and now
Mhm.
you're something in the middle. And so I'm guessing that doesn't mean you're really a pantser, but the
No,
in the middle.
no.
How does it look for you
Um,
now? What would you have a process?
Before I answer that, I want to answer
Oh,
the question up there. Would you?
her name is
I
Emily,
would,
actually. I know.
Emily. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, I didn't want to mispronounce.
Exactly.
Um, Maybe I love reading horror, but I don't know how well I could do it. I mean, it would like it sounds like, oh, horror, thriller, whatever, but I mean, that's a whole different sort of toolkit, really. Um, I would love to be able to, and I suppose if I had the right idea, maybe. But I'd probably stick more to psychological thrillers and the police procedurals
And now, with you doing romantic suspense prior to this,
prior. Hmm.
did you find the transition over to the space you're in now to be really challenging, or was that a natural jump for you?
Oh, it was natural because I don't like writing the romance.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would go if I could, I would just go much darker, but it doesn't. There's got to be a happy medium. So no, I don't really. I was happy to transition out of that.
Would you change to a different pen name, do you think, if you tried something that was really, really dark?
Probably if it was really, really dark,
Yeah,
probably, but
it's sometimes interesting to see how readers respond when they expect things to
mhm,
be a certain way, and then you change gears on them, and so
mhm.
it would be, that would be a big jump, but I don't know, you've got a plenty diabolical mind. I bet you'd be great.
Yeah, well, that is true. And Bella, it's probably gonna be well, I turn it in, I'm thinking the end of September, so that's probably like March, April,
Yeah.
right around in there for book 10.
Keep the questions coming, you guys. We'd rather have your questions than anything in the world, and I
And
love
what was the question you asked me? I forgot now.
Bella's was better. So was Emily's. I was wondering if you have a process now, because you talked about you used to be a pantser, but that was I mean, a plotter, but that got
Mhm,
boring for you,
mhm,
when you were writing, and I agree with
mhm,
that. And that you had something that you'd learned to do that worked for you. Do you have?
mhm.
Is it a process you can describe, or is it?
Well, after learning I was diagnosed with ADHD, I kind of had to reevaluate everything. And it it's funny because with every book, I feel like I'm learning how to write all over again and how to plot it all over again. Like I have to remind myself I know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I actually I have like an ADHD manual. That's kind of what my coach helps me with. But and so I've kind of through trial and error realized that I need some structure because I can't just go into it blind.
Mm-hmm.
But I also need a lot of wiggle room because pretty much every book, and I really, part of the reason 9 actually got behind is because I really thought this time that I could do the James Patterson outline. It made so much sense to me.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then I spent all this time, and research is my number one form of ADHD procrastination, but that was a close second. And then I got kind of lasered in on, okay, well, I need this sort of structured form to do it. And it just was this whole thing. But now I'm kind of, I feel like it's all kind of coming together, and I've kind of realized, I need about 10 key scenes,
Yeah.
and then I can kind of start writing and then go from there.
That's really similar to me. If I over outline, then I just
Yeah,
am like, oh God, I've already written it. It's already,
exactly.
but if I have those pivotal scenes, the ones that
Hmm.
anchor the book, then the
Right,
characters will tell me where to go. Do your
right.
characters talk to you? Do your
Oh,
characters
yeah.
change their mind on you? Like, no, Stacy.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yes.
no.
Yes. They definitely do. They definitely do. Even sometimes, like secondary characters or characters that I created for a specific book, suddenly, they were supposed to be a jerk, and then all of a sudden they're just not. And so you have to kind of reevaluate a little bit, or you find yourself liking the character too much that you don't want to make them bad or kill them off. I usually kill them off anyway, but still.
I love that. So Bella, which book in the series is your favorite and why? If you can pick a favorite baby.
The Girls in the Snow, because it was the first one to hit the USA Today bestseller list, and I could celebrate it with my dad. So yeah,
Oh, I love that
yeah,
you got that with him before he passed.
yeah, yeah. He was
And
really proud.
I should tell you that you had some nice comments earlier when you were speaking about him, and
Oh,
the
thank you. Thank
readers
you
and
so
listeners
much.
were
Thank
chiming
you.
in. So when you picture Nikki Hunt at the end of the day, if you and Nikki Hunt were to go to happy hour together, what would you ladies be ordering?
Margaritas,
Margaritas.
frozen strawberry margaritas, or amaretto sours.
Oh, now okay.
Nikki has my sweet tooth for sure. But yes,
Does this extend to desserts? Ever you're a dessert
yeah,
person?
yeah, and that's why she doesn't like the taste of coffee, but she needs the coffee, so she layers it up with everything. So yeah, that kind of stuff definitely creeps in.
Are there any other ways in which Nikki is like you?
Yeah, I think a lot of her sort of in the way she reflects on herself, and she sort of carries the guilt of her mistakes.
Uh-huh.
I think that definitely comes from me because that's part of me. And then there are certain things that I've used from my own life, like this book 9 that's coming out. Nikki had a miscarriage in 2013, 2014, shortly before that first flashback, and it's based on my own. And there's a couple scenes, and it just was the right time to write about it, and it worked for, you know, this plot.
I love well, I don't know if you find that cathartic,
It
to
really
write.
was, yeah.
Yeah, but I love that outlet for you, and I love that you've given Nikki her vulnerability and depth by tapping
Thank
into
you.
things like that for yourself.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think there's we've got Sandra who loves your sense of humor,
Thank
and
you.
I think we already answered that question. And you guys have done so well that we pretty much like beat past the end of the showtime and kept going.
Sorry, I tend to ramble. I'm sorry.
No, we've had all these great questions. I love it. Stacy, you've been awesome. You've answered everyone's questions, my questions,
Okay.
and the entire universe.
Okay.
So you
Thank
guys,
you.
the book to be going out and pre-ordering is called Stolen Mothers. It's Nikki Hunt, number 8. If you haven't read,
Number 9.
Number 9. If you haven't
Okay.
read number
Bone Lake is number 9.
8, yeah.
And
Number
yes,
10,
Bone Lake is a real lake in Minnesota, and it's
ah,
most of about 90%, 95% of the settings are accurate because, well, my best friend she used to be my copy editor, but now she's like the final proofer because I can't do that. And she's a literary specialist, but they live in Twin Cities, and her husband is a landscaper, and he's from Stillwater, and so I can't make mistakes without hearing about it. But I usually literally I think Bone Lake, Bone Lake, or maybe it might have been the one with Big Marine Lake. I literally I texted John and said, Northern Washington County, what's a good place to, drop a body or whatever, just out of the blue. And so they're used to it now, but
I love it. Well, Janelyn says she loves seeing all her favorite authors on these shows. Charlene says thank you for tonight, and that she's going to catch up with the series. She's got some reading to do. Yes, you do. There's 8 there. Go, girl, go.
my
And
TV red
so
house is sad.
lots of nice comments, and I'll echo them. Thank you for tonight.
Thank
You for
you.
this chat. And I hope that we'll get the chance to do it again sometime later in the series.
Definitely.
All right.
Maybe we can do it in July, and you can actually see our
Your new
incredible view of the mountains.
I would love that. I would love that. So everybody wave goodbye to Stacy, and bye-bye. You guys, you outdid yourself today. I can't thank you enough. The comments are still coming in. There's Cindy and Sandra saying me too on the thank you. So, thank you back. You guys are the best. A few of the quick outro things that I have to do. And I hope you don't just all jump off immediately when I say that. I'm probably doing it wrong because I'm sure you do. But don't forget, you can watch past shows and see the upcoming shows and prep for them by reading the series ahead of time if you want to, for my upcoming guests on my website, PamelaFaganHutchins.com, where you can also find my books in all the formats. You can find them anywhere, but they're also available on my website. Most importantly, and yet most boringly, Crime and Wine is a solely owned copyrighted production of Authors on the Air Global Radio Network, a digital media group with over 4 million viewers and listeners in 153 companies. Whew. Can't believe I got that right that time. A few more comments before we go. I want you all to get your day in the sun here. Charlene says, happy moving to Stacy. Bella Crook, it was so fun. Yes, Bella, it was so fun. And Emily says, thank you. Thank you guys very much. And I will see you next time. Here we go. Can she do the outro correctly? Wait and see.
Thanks for joining us today on Crime and Wine, chats with crime fiction authors and Pamela Fagan Hutchins. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll check back in with us next time for more thrills, suspense, and stories that will mystify, sometimes horrify, and always leave you wanting more.